town. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, uh, I got honor to have a beautiful lady with me today talking on Zoom for you or about the music. So we're going to talk about singing and we will talk about what it can do during the pandemic time staying at home. This young lady, her name is Elena. She's like me, all the way from former Soviet Union, Russia, but she lives right here in New York. As you can see, we have the view for the Broadway Queens. Is that Astoria? That's right.
Yep.
Uh, so let's find out what are your credentials, like how much do you know about music? Even in the Russian version, if you guys have the Google Translate, you can hear a little bit about her family history, because that's, I think, kind of important, not just learn in college, but also if you have generations of the artist involved. Elena, take it away.
First, let me start, Alexander, with thanking you for the opportunity, for inviting me
My
for
pleasure.
this. It's really great. And not mentioning that, it's nice to have a makeup on.
Yes,
Again.
it's a good reasoning, and
I
it's
even
nice
put some rings on. I haven't, no, but seriously, what a
we
crazy
have to
time.
dress up, yes, but you also got very nice light. Since you start giving the thanks, you should probably say
Thank you
thank
to
you
my
to,
technical support guy.
yes,
It's my much beloved husband who helped me to set this beautiful space up and with really professional light. And I like how I look
yes,
there.
yes. Don't look, the colors are good.
Anyways, that's there he is. Hi, technical support is walking into the
Hello.
Okay, so
Michael Gorbovitsky, technical and emotional support.
thank you,
All
Michael.
right, so as much as I always feel awkward speaking about myself and credentials, yeah, I realize it's important. So let me just put it into a few words. I come from Russia, and my musical education started there. I have a very I had a great opportunity to study music and violin performance with one of the best pedagogues in the world today. And that happened to be my father. It's not he's one of the best pedagogues today because he's my father, because he really is, because he carries this tradition of great golden time Soviet Union violin and music school all the way from Moscow that was coming from Yimpolsky. Uh, and he's one of the representatives of that school. And he shared this gift with me starting when I was 5. So I
Do you perform
graduated.
together?
Sorry?
Do you perform together with your father over the
You know
Zoom?
what? It's such an amazing question. We've never done before, but I really hope that that's to materialize.
Being in isolation, probably you need to spend more time with your family, and this music, I think that will bring
Unfortunately,
you
my
together.
parents, yeah, but my father, and his name is Mikhail Mindlin. And unfortunately, they split their time between here and Russia still,
Mm.
and so they're there. They happen to be caught there at this moment,
Wow.
and so it's yeah, it's worrisome, I must admit. However, one doesn't know where it's the best place to be right now. So
Yes, sure. We have so many cases, and they start catching more. But music can save the world, and
yeah. So,
mother and
anyways,
father singing to performing together, I think, will be a great concert.
I did have you like reading my mind and my dreams because I really did have that in my mind, and I hope that's to materialize. Um, so then from there, I came to New York to study musical theater actress and film actress. So I went to the
Are you
academy.
union? Are you sad?
No, I'm not because I moved on. See, the
Oh, so
thing is, it's like I'm always traveling with
do you
exploring
have
different
waivers?
things. Sorry?
Do you have waivers for the union?
No, I'm not really part of that union of musical theater. I've participated in a few
Mhm.
musicals, and I had my great um, show off moment at the town hall right after my graduation. It was a show of very well known impresario in New York City and the producer and the critic Scott Siegel, and that show was Broadway Rising Stars. So I had my hit there years ago. And then I actually turned around and went to schools for my master's and then later for my doctorate degree in vocal performance because I just felt I still needed, being a violinist, I felt I still needed to really figure out how all this mechanism works really and become a master in that. So it took quite a while for me to figure things out, and but I never regret that I focused on learning good technique, and that's my mission now
I
to
think you have
share.
plenty of pedigree by now, and you can have your own school and your own students. And with the Zoom and those technologies,
Right, right. Speaking
plus,
of, yes, that's like, yeah, that's you just bringing up the topic that's very important, of course, nowadays. And I have to admit that I was a person who was always avoiding um, this type of lessons, internet lessons. Because especially for singing, I think it's true for everything, and I'm sure a lot of teachers will agree, musical teachers will agree with me, that it's just, you need to be present in the same space and to be able to hear the real sound. However, and especially for singing, however, with the situation we're in now, um, I started to actually discover for myself that there are things that really are possible, and to teach via even Zoom is possible. And I have to say that because of the pandemic, I am able to start working now with two very fine young singers in Italy. I would have not considered that before, simply because I was just convinced you have to be in that place with that person. So I really enjoyed those opportunities when I was invited to give master classes, and I was fortunate enough to do so and to be able to share my knowledge in conservatories in Russia and in conservatories and schools, different schools in the United States. So, and I feel that it's always very rewarding to be able to share your knowledge and experience with younger musicians. And so I preferred that, But
how
now
do you
I'm
discover them?
sorry, say that
How
again.
how do you, how did you discover them? Did you find them on Facebook or someone introduced you? Like, what's the way to find the talent in your case? Your
You know what? I have
Instagram.
to say that in my case, because what I've been focusing lately for a few years now on is I create my own programs, recital programs, and they consist of whatever repertoire. It can be operatic, but it's mostly chamber. It's art songs, it's songs, and it goes to various genres. You name it. It can be operatic, it can be art songs genre, and it can be musical theater, and even some popular songs. Um, it doesn't matter what, but I combine things in such a way that it is um, a theater piece rather than just a recital because I love acting.
Do you
I'm
do you work with Tank? The Tank?
Say it again.
The Tank. You know what's the? There is
I'm not.
a number of shows I produce at a theater called Tank. It's a free theater in Manhattan. So basically, if you have a great new performance, they let you use that space to perform, and there is no
Oh,
rent there.
you know what? I think I did read about that at some recent time. And no, I haven't done that with them. But for instance, I will just prepare a program of the repertoire that resonates to me, I will put pieces together in a way that there is a
Mhm.
story, and I direct it for myself. Sometimes it involves other colleagues, depending on the project. And so I take it on tour in different various cities in Russia, or I had a tour in California a few years ago with my wonderful colleague Dmitry Rakhmanov. It really depends, but that's where I've been. And so because I often perform my concerts at the conservatories or universities and all those like music kind of schools, then yeah, somehow people just because you share your materials and people see what you do and how you do that. And I've been just very fortunate to be asked and invited to also give master classes. And then in whatever city, I must say, in whatever city I like sing, there will be some people, young singers, who just come to me or write to me
Let me
and
rephrase
ask
my
for a
question
lesson.
maybe different way. Like my first question, before this series of question, like where do you look for talent? Where people look for you? Like, are you going on Facebook groups or it's like Instagram parts? Like, where's uh, the
Connection
begin
point.
the connection point? Like, is it like you sitting, you produce your content on your YouTube and you wait for them to comment and to call you, or you actively searching and you go to their channels and you look who is doing what and you saying, you know what, let me perform for you or let me produce for you or let me like I'm trying to figure out like for the
The way
audience
how I figure out this.
for the audience like where they can
Right,
find the most value in your experience.
right. So for me, I guess it was more of a. It depends really because
So
I was
network of friends,
invited.
like
I was
people
yeah
that you know, people that like friendly connections, or it's like
yeah
strangers.
some of the connections I had happened just because I recorded this. It was an incredible project. I was drawn in actually by David Witten, also piano professor at what's the name of the university?
With
Uh,
her, it's
it's a
Cooper
new.
Union Cooper.
It's in New Jersey, but at any rate,
Oh,
so there was
that's
a.
no, that's
It's a
probably
wonderful
something else.
professor, David Witten, who one of those incredible days just sent me an email saying, "Oh, we are about to record an
Hmm.
entire CD of songs by Nikolai Cherepnin, who's been a contemporary of Rachmaninoff, but those songs were never ever recorded before. Would you agree to do that?" I was like, wow. So, and out of that project came a tour in Russia, actually in Moscow Conservatory, in St. Petersburg Conservatory, and Saratov Conservatory. So you name it, Rostov. So there were, I think, 5 cities where we did this concert of those songs and the contemporaries. I also gave lectures, and master classes, by the way, too. But then it grew out. It grew into my doctorate doctoral thesis. So it just and it was just a person who invited me from outside from hearing something on YouTube, one of my recordings. And then from that, I had certain connections already. And then whenever I create something, I just write to those people, hey, I'm like going your way. Would you like to have that? And so that's how I do it. And at the same time, for instance, with Dmitry Rakhmanov, another wonderful pianist and very well known piano teacher, um, he we decided to collaborate and created a
Hmm.
program, and he sent it out to his colleagues in California, and they just wanted it. So yes, and then
So it
me
goes by
also.
referral.
I
It's
sit, yeah, I sit.
you know, and people.
Yeah. Sometimes I do sit down. For instance, with the Cherepnin songs, I just was looking for where in Russia, because I've never performed as a singer in Russia before 2013 when it all was happening. So I had no idea where even could I perform possibly this program. And then I just knew that Nikolai Cherepnin was born in St. Petersburg. He later worked as a professor in the conservatory. And like all those things, because I was so much into the research and into that topic, it's like, oh my God, it must be brought into Glazunov Hall, with incredible acoustics, which is closed right now, but it's a different story. At any rate, so I just started to look up who is there, who may know whom, it's
Are
crazy
you are you pre
networking.
are you prepping for the next stage? Like, do you guys have a car by any chance?
Sorry, say that again?
Are you prepping for the next stage once the kind of lockdown is not going to be so tight and start moving around? For example, I just booked a couple of weddings and events in the park in the Floyd Benefield. So they've been looking for the performer for a wedding in this particular essence, someone who can have a pretty decent voice so they can hear everybody from quite a bit of a distance. Because you can't be too close to the bride and groom or the guest.
Yeah, true, true. I
So
mean, and it's
open
not even
space.
about performers, right? Because we're on stage, so we have like tons of space uh, between us and the audience. But it's the audience. How do you sit the
But
audience in the
in this
hall
stage, we're talking about the moving air
outside?
with the fans and the like, air conditioner, so it's more dangerous. So when they do performance on open space, when it's on a beach or it's in a park, or, that has so much more safety for everybody to be in, and still have not the best acoustic, perhaps with the wind
Yes,
and
that's
stuff.
what I was going to say. Because I mean, okay, that's great for one genre and for kind of one sound production for certain songs, but then yeah, we will be missing out hearing classically trained voices in real acoustics unamplified, but we will need to use I mean, come on, those classical singers nowadays sing all over the place where it's not really supposed to sound good acoustically, and we do use those microphones, and
I think the
that's the
advantage
way
that
to go.
you have a trained voice. So if someone who don't have schooling that you have, and they try to sing live, all the mistakes could be heard. With someone like you who actually do have a voice,
It's true.
it's you have a way more advantage controlling with the voice. Plus, you have technical support with your husband. He's set up for your lights and sound, so you guys really understand the how to make it sound decent for the audience. So with a small team, you don't have to have like a huge professional crew, uh, and you can still produce some pretty decent concerts.
You know what? If I may, I'd like to mention as probably as a part of the answer to your question, what's happening. I'm actually yes. Before the lockdown, I did have the concert coming up in Italy in May, so forget about that. But we will definitely do that once we can. But also in Virginia, in the Garth Newell festival. It's in October, so I'm still working
Hopefully.
on the repertoire for that and hoping that it will just
Mhm.
go as it is. We'll see. But what happens here and now? There's an incredible person, and I mentioned because I did this Broadway Rising Stars at the beginning. At the town hall at the beginning of our interview, I mentioned that it's Scott Siegel's concert series, and he has created incredible amount of those. Broadway by the Year is one of his most famous. Uh, he's been putting those concert series and shows in the best cabarets at the town hall for over a decade now. Also produced many things around the world. So he is really, together with his wonderful wife, Barbara Siegel, just incredible people. Not only because they're, just this incredible old generation of really wonderfully educated, deep, and I mean, you name it, just brilliant people. But they also really care about performing artists. They really care about the field. They give out their entire soul and love and put so much effort to keep that afloat. So, in trying to do so, Scott Siegel around a couple of weeks ago, just started a campaign called Let's Pay Performers to Perform. So he just started a fundraising through
Oh,
GoFundMe and said, hey, I'm creating a new concert series. They're going to be online concerts and they're going to be pre recorded performances. Um, and I'm going to call it the Great American Songbook. So the first concert came out about a couple of weeks ago and was a big success. It was seen right away by more than 1,000 people. So now it goes on because there are some companies. Gosh, if I don't want to lie into the camera, but there are certain organizations, big organizations. It's like a film. I can't think of it right now, but we
we
can
can
look
put
it
it
up later.
in the comments. We
That
can just
right.
when we do the description for this video, we can add
They're
details.
organization that has a lot of that big audience. You know, they have a lot of followers, and they just got very interested in sharing with their followers that. So what I'm trying to say is that, I mean, guys, look it up. The Great American Songbook, Volume 1 is already out and available for anyone to hear. It's a brilliant concert. Uh, while it is pre-recorded by artists because we're all in quarantine and we need to be safe, so for some it was done remotely, like a pianist recorded accompaniment and then the singer. So it was hard enough thing to figure out. But then Scott Siegel, as he always does, absolutely brilliantly and meaningfully put it all together. He introduced performers and the songs in between the numbers. So it's really brilliant. You should see it. It's called The Great American Songbook Volume 1. And there's also The Great American Songbook Volume 2. There's a trailer right now is out. And that's where I get to participate. It's going to be out this Thursday at 7 p.m. And you know what? I must say, it's like a shout out to all those performing artists who are dealing with this blockage of their creative selves, probably because we're going through really hard, traumatizing times. And I couldn't when Scott Siegel wrote to me, oh, well, I mean, let's like, would you like to do something? Would been, you know, he just invited me to participate. I was like, oh my God, that's incredible. And to find out only then that I was not capable of giving anything because everything was blocked, you know, because everything is so painful that's happening outside
How
that
the
we just
isolation,
block.
how the isolation and staying at home affect your performance? Are you sad? Is it open more kind of a
You know,
different avenue for you? Go
it's
ahead.
actually interesting question because I must admit right away that I am a lucky one who has a nice place to be in, who has food. You know, it's not that I'm uncomfortable here, so I don't complain about that at all, and I'm very thankful for that. Uh,
People need a little bit
but
more to have.
exactly, but the thing is, and I wouldn't even say that I'm suffering from not being able to, you know, go to the cafe or, of
Do
course,
you sing the up to the objects? Like, do you take
to
like
the to the
like you know,
objects.
like if you
You know,
cast
but that's
away,
the
remember he had his ball
right.
and he was talking to
Stage
him.
1, stage 2, stage 3. That's all. Where's my psychiatrist? You know what? No, I don't think to the
Well, you have
objects.
your husband, so
You
you
know, but
can.
the thing is, it's kind of normal situation. I normally would mm, share my time between very intense and a lot of people involved in its performances and its traveling and everything. And then on the other hand, it's very kind of very quiet, very focused, very isolated time when I'm preparing something.
Right.
So this, however, was and is still a bit different because even by being here in your bubble and being okay, you cannot just not react to what's happening because there's so many people who, okay, who we just lost.
Does it
And you know, it's like
open for you like
friends, parents, and
does that open for you new doors and like a new depth of what you do and you say, okay, I have to produce good content because one of those people, or it's like a, like so I see some creative folks who always complain, I don't have time. I don't have time to be alone and create. And now they have all this time on their hands and they cannot create. They have creative block because they don't
Right,
know what to do with themselves.
right.
And with
So I
all
have to.
the
I
news that they see, it stops them from being creative.
So I guess yeah,
Or it's all in
it's a
you.
big question, and it's a challenge. How, where do you find inspiration? So I will just say that you know what, and it's I'm telling it as I'm sharing with all of you. I also am talking to myself right now. It is important what you have to give, even if it's a little bit. And actually, in the song that I chose to record for this, the Great American Songbook Volume 2 that comes out this Thursday at 7 p.m., produced by Scott Siegel. That's what it talks about. If we only have love, we can reach those in pain. We can heal all our wounds. We can use our own names. And you know, if we only have love for the hymns that we shout, for the songs that we sing, then we'll have a way out. And that just made it just kind of healed me and brought me back to the ability to feel, to share, and to be inspired to share, and to like never underestimate. It's important. Your voice is important. Just share what you can, whatever that may be. If it carries love and kindness, I mean, some people, for instance, this project, you know, because those many wonderful souls who donated to this project, every single performer is being paid. And I understand that some of us obviously don't have money to buy food, and it's terrible out of work jobs, and it's, I mean, but we're not in the same
Ladies
situation.
and gentlemen, I'm gonna put a few more links to a variety of grants and news scholarship projects that are for the artists in the comments in the description for this particular interview. So look it up below. Uh,
Yeah. Just we should share love and kindness. We should do whatever we can. For instance, someone can't donate to such a project, but it doesn't take too much from any of us to share with friends.
so
That's huge help.
some statistics are saying that up to 80% of theaters will never resume their production. So a lot of performing places would not be able to come back to life after the pandemic. What are you guys doing to sustain afloat and kind of prepare for
For those
the future?
places being closed. Oh my God, yeah, I don't really even know, but I guess
Like,
something new will have to arise. We'll have to find new ways. You know what? Actually, it's just a random thought, but some of the venues have been really seriously struggling with
before.
bringing people in. And then, of course, we meaning as the field, right, of performing arts, we started to open up into this live, what is this, what is this, not sessions, but castings, whatever, through
Mhm.
Facebook, you name it. And then, of course, much broader audience was brought in. And it's because, you know, we are in, I'm not even an exception myself. Like, it's just sometimes it's just hard to make yourself to put makeup on and just go somewhere, right? So we're a little weird. We're a little detached because of all this. Everything is right here, so I'm there. So we're lost.
Are you?
And
I
more audience you can bring in by doing that. But now we're forced to do that. So who knows? Maybe that's future. Guess what? After all this quarantine and isolation, not being able to leave your home, my hope is that more people will start appreciate the opportunity to be at the live concert. It
sure.
may turn around the other way, you know.
You think they will understand this? They
I don't
might
know.
not come
You
out.
somehow what you can't have, you cherish more sometimes.
Sure.
You know.
Because I just spoke today with a friend of mine who's a kind of prominent photographer, and he was concerned that people in the past they thought a photographer for wedding or for big event is kind of a must thing, and now they realize they can do those weddings over the Zoom and or like birthdays on the computer, and they even when they will be able to come back to normal life, they will get used to it, not to have those services and will abandon it. So I was questioning if the industry can do, stay afloat and kind of be needed when things
I do believe that it will. We were kind of expanding into that direction anyway, unavoidably so, because it's all about, digital
convenience.
stuff and, we were, but I think it actually, even through this project, I mean, yes, Scott Siegel would have his town hall concerts packed. But you know what now, think about, with all those, I just today, he sent us an email sharing that this will be shared with the audience of more than 100,000 people.
Oh.
So, I mean, you can't put 100,000 people into the town hall, right? So, see, it's kind of, I don't know, but, if we are given a choice to either go with, oh, everything will be bad and it's worse, and
No,
or everything will be maybe better, we still have what we have. We will definitely go back to normal one day, because it's not forever. And but we also have learned, we will have learned a lot of new stuff. So I'm going there because you don't really have choice. You
I
have to
think
go with positive.
what you do, your trade kind of is a living proof of that history repeats itself. At some point, it was classical theater and classical, or conservatory and singing. That's all we had. And then we had pop music and the radio and all this music commercials and stuff. And guess what?
Right.
We still have all this classical music today. So if
Sure.
and this is like 100, 200, 300 years ago, been same. So you living proof that this dynasty tradition of proper singing survived through centuries. Same.
Absolutely, and that's isn't that always time is the best measurement of how valuable things are? With everything that's happening nowadays, we don't have that measurement. It's just not available because,
So,
we are here and then we will be gone, and then other generations will understand what was really valuable, what we've created nowadays. But from other from the past centuries, we already have all that incredible
would it be
body of work.
a total kind of a push if I ask you to sing for the English audience like a few notes in English? That way we can prove that you not only can talk about music and arts, but also perform. Let's
Oh my
try
goodness.
maybe
I
keep
should
the
have
mic
been
a little bit
prepared for
further.
this. Oh
Yes.
gosh. Okay. Yes, always, of course. It's an interview. I completely forgot. See, that's what lockdown does to you. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily warm up. You put
Yes.
your makeup on, but you don't warm up, just in case. Anyways, let me think. Um,
You can maybe take the mic a little bit further because you might hit some high notes. And
okay,
yes.
let me just try to do this. Here? Should I just
Yes.
place it
Let
here?
yes.
Wow.
Let's try
See,
that way.
we're learning every single second here. So, and plus, I need to take this out, so
Yes.
I won't be able
Yes.
to hear you at all,
Yes.
but I will
It's
hear me, hopefully.
yes.
All right. Oh my goodness. All right, you guys ready? Yeah. And hand in hand, we'll find love's promised land. There'll be no one for me. Eternally, if you will be my
That's pretty amazing. Now we learned that lav mics are not really set for the proper voice, or
Was
maybe
it clipping? Sorry.
it's yes, but this is not the mic for this. Like you might want to have something like this, or even better, like if you
Yeah.
radio maybe next time if you will do the classes over the Skype and
Yes, I
Zoom.
actually
That might.
use this for
Oh
the
yeah,
classes.
yeah. So why didn't you use that mic?
Can we use this mic for this, Misha? We can actually try it a bit
For the
for
next,
real.
maybe for the next one that will
All
do
right.
better. That's the reason because I have a little mic like you
We
here.
do have actually
But
mics, a lot of them. It's just I wasn't sure. I mean, I can kind of sing quietly. It's not that I sing actually very loudly, but it's not. It's like a real singing.
can you do plugin for your social media? How folks can look you up, like your email or like Facebook page, Instagram? Where do you post your like, schedule performances or like classes so people can set up?
Uh, yeah. So I do. There is a website which is at the moment under construction, but it's coming out. And it's Elena Elena dot oh no dot it's elenamindlina.com ElenaMindlina.com. So I do post some things even though it's under construction, and it says I think coming soon. Whatever I have performance I do post it there, but also a good source if anyone's interested. I would love to welcome you there on my YouTube channel. It's also, if you just find Elena, Elena Mindlina, Mindlina, on YouTube. I do have a channel under that name.
You just hit
And
100 subscribers, and now the next
yes,
step is
thank you
to
so
get
much
to
to
get
those
out.
who subscribed. Yeah, I
So
just hit the
next
first
stage is
little mile.
let's get
Yeah.
to 1,000, so you can do your monetization strategy.
I'd love to actually. There are quite a
Well,
few videos from my perform, but those are live performances. But you just wait. I guess more recorded ones are coming out. And also, if you ever want to explore singing or diction,
you know what
uh,
started working for me now? One thing that I cannot film anything new now. So what I do, I go back to my archives, my performances, things that I recorded in the past, and I do commentary. So I do voiceover on them and re-upload them again. So that gives me a new kind of content to upload. Maybe you with your voice, you certainly can do proper voiceover.
actually, it's a great idea. Yeah, I haven't thought of that. I mean, with this, especially classical, not only classical genre, but especially with classical music, where you fluctuate, and have some freedom, and that's how this music touches you and is alive. Uh, it's hard to sync with yourself, and that's what I had to face and learn how to do for
Well,
for this music video that we just home produced for the concert this Thursday, online concert. I had to lip sync myself, and it was
uh,
hard. Actually, I also I'm giving up. I'm giving away the secret. I also have a violin solo there, so I had to play with pre-recorded myself also, but especially for the first video, I think it turned out decent. But keep in mind, it's home produced, but I think the meaning of the words is the most important thing there. It's a great song, especially for this time. And it was it was so cold, it was raining, and then all of a sudden at night it cleared up, and we had a picture a little bit of Manhattan. So, and we shoot it outside at our balcony. It
nice.
was
You have a great balcony, so you might start doing concerts for your
right. Actually, you know what's
neighbors.
funny?
uh,
We were shooting, and it just the 7 o'clock struck.
and
So
everybody clap.
I exactly, and I just played that violin solo that I was just recording.
Cool.
I just totally did that from my balcony. Yeah,
Cool.
that was touching.
Let's stop at this point. I think it's enough information for the folks now. If maybe we will find more things to talk about, and you guys will comment and request more. Maybe I'll ask Elena to come back and do another piece. Maybe we'll do.
Goodness, it was so much fun.
Thank you. And
You're wonderful. I mean, I really enjoyed that. I mean, sincerely.
thank you.
So you just have this warmth in you. I think that's so important and welcoming, especially for nowadays. I mean, not it's a personal quality, of course. Not we're all
Can't,
different, but you
can't,
definitely have that.
when I'm getting so many compliments, I can stop recording, but I have to stop.